I'm Susan L. Allen, National President and CEO of the U.S. Pan-Asian American Chamber of Commerce Education Foundation, broadcasting from Washington, D.C. We're celebrating 36 years of a legacy of growth this year. In the last 26 months, America has gone through a lot. Indeed, the entire world has gone through a lot because of COVID-19. We went through unprecedented health and safety issues. It kept us away from our work. It kept our children from school. It devastated our economy. And there's so much more that I could tell you, but you all know what had happened to America. At the forefront of bringing relief to America's small business and helping them to recover from these devastations is the U.S. Small Business Administration. From the mom and pop operations in Main Street to the contractors with government agencies and the commercial sector to the retail stores, the U.S. Small Business Administration has been a breath of fresh air for all of us. Joining me today is Mark Madrid, Associate Administrator for the Office of Entrepreneurial Development. It is the technical assistant arm with a large national resource network dedicated to America's small businesses. Previously, Mr. Madrid was the CEO of Latino Business Action Network, a national nonprofit that brings funds and supports for research and educational impact programs at Stanford University. He was named the 2019 Silicon Valley Nonprofit CEO by the Silicon Valley Business Journal. He served on the board of trustees of Scholarship America, is an honorary colonel of the United States Army and Jefferson Award recipient, and has a senior executive career in banking that began on Wall Street with J.P. Morgan in 1995. Mr. Madrid's passion for America's small business is dedicated to his father, whom he lost to COVID-19 in 2020. Mr. Madrid Sr. ran a welding business for 40 years, so we're just delighted to have Mark Madrid Jr. to be with us today. Mr. Madrid, Mark, thank you so much for coming. We have known each other for a long time in the nonprofit business, and now you're sitting at the U.S. Small Business Administration headquarters, commanding a vast network of resource. Tell us about the Small Business Administration. What's its purpose? What is its mission? Go ahead.
Thank you, Susan. First and foremost, thank you for this invitation. Energized to be here on behalf of Administrator Isabella Casillas Guzman and all the wonderful team at the SBA, the Small Business Administration, and happy 36th anniversary.
Thank
it's
you.
Definitely a legacy of sweat equity, purpose and commitment and action. Well, the SBA, we help small businesses start, expand, and grow. That's the bottom line. And how do we do that? Is we provide access to funding, resources, education, the resource partner footprint that I have the honor of leading at the Office of Entrepreneurial Development, and all the units. We're one SBA. And so we have, if you go to our website, I'll start with that. It's www.sba.gov, www.sba.gov. There, what I submit for all as consideration is take 10 undistracted minutes to see about the volume of our services, whether it's government contracting and business development, our Office of Capital Access, our Office of Disaster Assistance, our Office of Entrepreneurial Development. Basically, we want small businesses to feel like this is the national resource. Administrator Guzman is the voice of over 32.5 million small businesses, and we support, she says, a drop in the bucket. So what we want to do is make sure that we continue to give exposure to what it is that we do. And certainly the pandemic, thank you for starting off with COVID-19 and the reality of what's happened to our country on several dimensions that you mentioned: small business, health, our kids, our families. And so a lot of businesses came to the SBA for the first time during the pandemic,
Right.
through no fault of their own,
Right.
through desperation, through survival. And so now we want to create lifelong customers to the SBA. So thank you for being a wonderful resource and advocate for small businesses. And of course, we're delighted to collaborate with you even stronger this year.
That's right. Or Mark, may I call you Mark here?
Of course, of course.
We talked about this. Asian American businesses, in addition to the health and safety concerns, they also suffered from the anti-Asian activities that has been brought into focus since 2020. What has the SBA's role in bringing some comfort to American small businesses?
Oh, Susan, I mean, I was in Northern California and certainly witnessed some very disturbing imagery. And what I'm here to reinforce with you is that President Biden, Vice President Harris, Administrator Guzman, our heart goes out to the AAPI community. In fact, the President issued an executive order for the AAPI community when he began his presidential term, which I think is notable. It's a strong statement that extends across all agencies, including the SBA. So our commitment is to the AAPI community through action and our Community Navigator pilot program. I know we're going to talk about that.
Yep.
But one of our Tier 1 grantees, well, I'm looking at the leader of US PAC, and we want to make sure that it was representative of all our communities. And we're certainly reinforced, grateful, and energized that the AAPI community is represented in this new program.
Right. Well, thank you so much. US PAC is honored and humbled at the same time to be selected as one among 8 national Tier 1 grantee of the near $100 million SBA program, the Community Navigator pilot program, that is dedicated solely to reach out across the country through 58 hubs, us, the 8 national hubs,
That's right.
11 state hubs, and 32 local and municipal hubs, altogether 53 of us, spread across the country, 50 states plus Puerto Rico and the District of Columbia. Our mandate will be to reach out to the underserved and unserved AAPI Pan-Asian American businesses in collaboration with the other hubs and with our nearly 400 spokes, our affiliates across the country. We're going to do our best to make sure that the federal investment, the trust that the SBA has entrusted to us, to reach out to them, show them where all the great resources you are sitting and commanding with your team of 50 plus and your 100 partners in the community and 60 some district offices. It's a vast network, the largest collaboration of public, nonprofit, and private partnership. We're just delighted to be able to help America's small business, particularly the Asian American community, get a piece of that information and action and benefit from all the good work that SBA has done and will be doing and continue to do under Administrator Guzman's leadership. It's a new day for us.
It definitely is a new day, and what a wonderful articulation. Basically, what you just reinforced is that we're about coalition building. We're about coalition building, non-duplication of resources, and extending the reach of programming and access to the underserved, underprivileged, under-resourced small businesses. And so you talked about coalition building amongst the 51 grantees of the Community Navigator pilot program, which is essential. Also, the Office of Entrepreneurial Development, under the direction of the agency and Administrator Guzman, this footprint of our resource partners, including our small business development centers, our women's business centers, our SCORE chapters, our district office, all working in collaboration to ensure that our small businesses, the smallest of the small, and you said it, we're on a trust building campaign. Trust building campaign for free services that are our small businesses, we can reach them where they are. And what we mean by that, Administrator Guzman mentions that all the time, is to truly understand what that business is going through and to be able to connect with them, whether it's in a culturally competent way, whether it's connecting with them through language.
And we do that.
And you
We
do that,
do
and
that
you
for
do
the
exceptionally
Asian
well.
Americans.
Please tell us how you do that, because this is essential. I want the world to know about this.
Well, we are, as a national hub, we have put together 15 spokes, what we call branches, that spread across the country. 3 of them are dedicated to reaching out to the vastly diverse, culturally different Asian Pacific American islander community. And we have Chinese language, Korean, Japanese, Tagalog, Hindi, you name it. I can't even say all of them. And so whenever there is a need for language translation or interpretation, our team, Universal Processing, New Market, and BBA, which is a Indian focused TV and radio broadcasting spoke, will get the word out. We have dedicated 3 of our 15 spokes to reach out to all across the country. So there will be businesses who are not in the 5 states that we focus on: California, Texas, Georgia, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, which are the critical states with the largest Asian American population. And some of them, they may be in big states, but many of them do not even know about the SBA. They ask, what is the SBA? We do not know that they have, they give assistance on access to capital, grants, government loans, and they have no idea there is business advisory service, how to apply for a license, how to find a lawyer at an affordable rate. So this is something that we have started to do, and this is 3+ months. We have a lot of good news to tell you. We have time, but May 25, we will mark our 6-month milestone.
Oh my goodness!
And thanks to you and the Minister Guzman's office, we have dedicated 2 special programs to feature the SBA's CNPP program.
Susan, thank you. Oh, we're delighted, energized. That's going to be a special day because Administrator Guzman is going to be at your conference, and she's going to spotlight the wonderful work of USPAC intersecting with the Community Navigator Pilot Program. Thank you very, very much. And I know we're going to have another session that's dedicated to you're inviting hubs there, and our team will be present.
Yeah.
Isn't that going to be a fabulous day to be in person and in purpose as well?
Throughout all this time since we launched in December, all the hubs and spokes have been talking to each other online, but May 25th will be real in person, face to face, eyeball to eyeball. We're going to knock elbows. Okay?
We're going to knock elbows and knock down walls, right?
Right.
And eradicate barriers. I love what you said about the diversity within the AAPI community, because sometimes we need to talk about that. We don't want any small business left behind, including all the ones that you mentioned. And it's a two-way street of education. Our team is learning as well from the breadth of the diversity within the AAPI small business ecosystem. So thank you very much for serving those 5 state areas and looking beyond with multilingual services and that trust building campaign that we talk about, and creating that lifelong, hopefully, relationship with the Small Business Administration. We want these small businesses to matriculate into other SBA programming, whether it's educational footprint, counseling services through our resource partners, getting certified if they're certifiable, and ultimately, and I know you know about this,
yes,
as being eligible for procurement in the federal government.
Indeed, the infrastructure bill that the president signed in November is going to bring major opportunities for America's small businesses, and as you talked about the Executive Order 13985. The president instructed the federal agency with the authority to contract with outside businesses. He instructed them to make sure that they do their utmost to increase their federal contracts with minority, which means, in our view, in our mind, Asian, Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans will have the opportunity to increase their contracting with the federal agencies from 5 to 15%. That was
That's
music
right.
to our ears.
Right.
It
That's
was
right.
just great. And you talk about certification. USPAC has been certifying Asian American and other minority businesses since 1998 at the request of the U.S. corporation, who at that time were trying to reach out to Asian Americans who could bring them overseas to the Asia Pacific region to do business. And when America was preparing for the U.S. Census 2000, they began to pay attention to the growing Asian American community. They needed to count Asian Americans. They came to us and say, how do we find them? So it was in 1998 that we started a certification program. Can I also talk to you about this collaboration that you mentioned?
Absolutely.
It is the largest collaboration that I know, okay, that you spread across the country. Nobody have ever heard about that. But, you know, USPAC has been in this collaborative business for a long time. Back in the 1990s, we started working with the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Native American Chamber of Commerce, back in the 1990s. And then in the 2010, we started to reach out, and he reached back. Ron Busby with the U.S. Black Chamber, he started a chamber in 2010 in Washington, D.C., and we started working with that. And then, of course, we added our relationship with the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce, and then Disability In, the Veteran Association. So we have had a long relationship of 10 years working together in collaboration. So when the SBA announced this program, immediately thought about collaboration. We got the network. We have the boots on the ground.
Yes.
We got foot soldiers there. So again, thank you very much for allowing us to expand our wings through this Community Navigator grant program.
Well, at the end of the day, the small business owners across this country employ almost half of all workers in the U.S. I mean, when you look at historically, when we look at the Great Recession, I know all about the Great Recession. I shut down a bank during that period, and I know you recall it as well. If you look at weather catastrophes, if you look at the 9/11, the resiliency of small business ecosystems persisted, that grit and that resilience. It's almost like some battle scars, and we saw them again during the pandemic. And what's optimistic about this, if there's a silver lining, is that we had a record number of new business applications in 2021, over 5.4 million.
Wow.
Persisting through the pandemic. That shows the entrepreneurial nature of this country and the small businesses that you serve, and the others that you mentioned, your collaborators, some of which are Tier 1 grantees in the Navigator pilot program. And that is essential. We're not going to be able to do this alone. We're going to have to work together to help this ecosystem that has helped this country and has benefited the economy throughout time. And so it is our responsibility to make sure that that economic force is supported. So thank you for that collaboration that you mentioned and the seasoned track record that you have with other organizations. That's going to be pivotal.
We know American small business is the laboratory of innovation. It is the small business owner who dare to mortgage their house. Sometimes some of our members actually use their children's college fund to start a business. And the wife would stay home and started her own little business in order to help the husband. So we are on the right track, Mark. As I said over and over again, not only is small business the backbone of the economy, it is America's soul and heart. COVID-19 showed it. Without small business, everything will come to a halt. Don't you agree?
That's right. When we talk about essential workers, you know, I thought about our essential small businesses that kept us going. I think about, you know, bread manufacturers. When, you know, big corporations could not, you know, provide that bread on the shelves. Who came to the rescue? And I know several bread manufacturers across the country, small business owners, that said, you know what, I will help. And they were stocking the shelves with bread. So
let me tell you this
remarkable
success story.
Can
I tell a success story?
I love success, and we love success stories.
One of our hub spokes, Universal Processing in New York. He's in New York, New Jersey. He operates around the country. That's why he's our major outreach partner for the CNPP program. One of the business called China Spice, an Indian American-owned business, as small business. It has takeout and dine-in services. Well, COVID-19 shut his business down by 90%. 90%. He had a great business, but it shut it down because nobody was coming out to work to eat. He's got employees who were sick with COVID, and he could not pay rent. He could not pay utilities. He could not make payroll. And he happened to know Universal Processing's business development person, who was one of our network spokes, and he said, I'm going to have to close my business. Or our Mr. Patel from Universal Processing said, no, let me help you. So he helped him to build an online business. So customers don't have to go to a store and order. So he had started that, but he could not deliver. Only he and his cook working in the restaurant. So Mr. Patel actually helped him for months, part-time, to deliver. And of course the PPP came and helped. He was at the later stage of the PPP application, and that business began to move again, and now he's back in business. And that is one heartwarming example that small business people actually helping each other and utilizing the SBA's resources as well.
Well, our Paycheck Protection Program, our PPP, our Economic Injury Disaster Loan, our IDO, our Restaurant Revitalization Fund, which was geared toward restaurants, our Shuttered Venue Operators Grant, which was geared toward live venues and those types of businesses, and in the performing venues. It was a tough time, and so that digital breakthrough that business had is a wonderful story of resilience in and of itself. Thank you for sharing that success story. Administrator Guzman is very interested. She has a seasoned track record of breaking digital divides, and so that's very, very important. E-commerce is going to be significant. Our work with cybersecurity and broadband, so it's all connected. And I love what you said about that business. I look forward to researching how that business has grown and vaulted into the digital world to make sure that those spices are not only available in that footprint geographically, but that they cross state barriers and all can have access to that wonderful product. It sounds like a wonderful product.
On May 25th, we have more stories to tell, to share, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity of some of our small businesses we've been helped by your good office be on stage with the Administrator Guzman, and together with the hubs, we're trying to bring all the 8 national hubs together and some of the spokes. It will be a great, wonderful day to showcase the efficacy and effectiveness of this very positive program that would bring life and joy to the American small businesses.
Thank you for saying that, because that is the mission of the Community Navigator pilot program. It is a pilot program, $100 million, but the essence of it is to have it's a hub and spoke model. So the hubs are grantees through the Small Business Administration. They are the ones that provide the infrastructure, the direction, the economies of scale, and then they deploy through cooperative agreements spokes. So the spokes are the trusted community agents in the states that you mentioned, and then they're the ones that are connecting, that know the small businesses where they are on the terrain, on the ground, and that's how this vast network, and you said it best, is across all 50 states, DC and Puerto Rico. And so we have coverage. We want to make sure that small businesses, both in urban and rural America, have access and awareness of SBA programming and other resources that are available. Through this program, one of our metrics that we're looking at is over 0.6 billion in approved funding will ensue because of this program. So those are grants, banking products, CDFI products, etc. So thank you. I look forward to, and we look forward, Administrator Guzman is overjoyed at the thought of you having that 6-month milestone, you and your team. Thank you to your team.
Thank you.
Thank you to your team. And thank you to our team as well, all those who are watching in the Office of Entrepreneurial Development and the Small Business Administration. We're one agency. We're very, very grateful, but I have a lot of gratitude to convey to the SBA team and to your team. Thank you.
It is truly a collaborative process, and the best is yet to come. To come out of our
I
work.
love that. The best is yet to come.
That's right. With the federal's investment in us, we're going to do our best, our utmost, to make sure we bring positive impact to America's small businesses, Pan-Asian American AAPI, in collaboration with the other hubs and spokes. We intend to continue to reach out because, as I said, USPAC has that collaborative relationship with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Black Chamber, the folks with disabilities, the veterans, and the Gay and Lesbian community. We have that under our belt. We know how to work. We just don't give lip service. We actually meet together, talk together, and before COVID-19, our collaborative partners meet 4 times a year. Each time we meet for 2 days, 2 full days. That is what we bring to this. And again, thank you for allowing us to expand our wings and showcase what our experience has been. And as I said, the best of the work that CNPP allow us to do is yet to come.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you for having me today. At the end of the day, if we can help one small business at a time to move forward, whatever forward means for them, for that small business owner, whether it's today, I'm going to try to hire somebody and increase if it's me, myself, and I, to increase from 1 to 2 employees. If it's whether today I'm going to apply, for that funding resource and I'm going to utilize, some help, or today I'm going to ask for help, or today I'm going to look out for counseling services, or I'm going to sign up for an educational resource. Happy also Women's History Month. We have a historic Women's Business Summit happening for women entrepreneurs. So whatever that moment is today, one small business at a time, it's our true commitment. And with your help, the best is yet to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mark. That's it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in, audience and viewers. As we know, COVID-19 has taught us a great lesson. It tells us that we are a very interconnected country and world, and the SBA will be one central focus where we could utilize the vast resources from technical assistance to advisory services to helping us network with each other and get to know each other's experiences, best practices, and successful stories that can motivate us to do even more and to become that country that everybody will look up like the beacon on the hill. Thank you again. So long for now, and see you again later.